All right, maybe just or mainly just wanting to see that I am live. I do appreciate. Just make sure as we wait. Just wait. Dang, you too. Here we go. Okay, cool. We're all live. We're all good to go. Appreciate 6 of you guys here. I'm gonna try and get this done before any of the on-track activity starts for the Cup Series. Sorry, I had to leave for family thing last minute this week and wasn't able to do any videos. But hey, here we are talking about Michigan. Now, yeah, sure, they're going slow. Also, I'll kill some time as people, get in here and stuff. Normally, I missed a lot. I got to catch up on all the Austin Dillon RCR, Dale Earnhardt shirts, and then I got to plow through all my Kurt Busch shirts. And then poor Bloomquist. Everybody I really don't care about celebrity deaths or anything like that. Like I never met Scott or whatever, but that actually very, very sad about that. That really, really sucks. I was pretty sad when I saw that yesterday. That is very, very unfortunate. Really sucks. Maybe we can talk about Scott and that stuff towards the end of this once we get through. But that is very, very sad. I'm very, very, very sad to hear that he passed away. As we go ahead and look at where people are at, this is a standard intermediate. Okay. So, two things. I'm just repeating stuff because, sometimes we can do viewers or sometimes we don't. Um, these videos and my stuff are how I personally approach things. Okay. I typically, or I'm not necessarily making stuff that is just, you know, here are the plays or here is this is the standard, deviated projections, whatever. Like all my videos and stuff are how I personally approach each of these races. Okay. So I have always used intermediate data when we go to Michigan. I never include Michigan in that data set going forward. That's my own personal preference. I just personally do not do that. I would much rather use Pocono. I mean, you can use Michigan, but I personally do not use it going forward. I just use that data, however, entering Michigan each year for both series. So we'll do the same thing tomorrow. It's not a major concern here. When we're looking at the laps now, unless NASCAR lies again on their own website, okay, how many times have that had? Do you guys pay attention? It's already happened like twice this year alone. Okay. Uh, we are expecting 125 laps. Sometimes it changes from what's on NASCAR's own website, so that's absolutely incredible. But I'm building off of 125 laps today. When we look at that and we view where people are at and what the pricing are on people, and we understand that these guys are running much lower times than normal, but I don't really foresee that being a major thing and breaking people up. Um, and thank you, I do appreciate the kind words, Timmy. When we look at where people are at and the speeds that the cars have had, the people that have had probably the most consistent fast cars have been the SHR guys ever since, they shut down. Like Riley Herbst has been there. Cole Custer has been incredibly consistent and started off, a bit shaky and stuff. We weren't necessarily sure where people fell in line at. And yeah, sure, Cole Custer is up here because, um, Smith got issues, Chandler Smith got issues rather at Texas. And we were like, man, was Cole the best car because he, kind of inherited the lead, which is true. He was on the good line on that restart, got through the field before everybody else. And this is early in the year, so personally, I was hesitant on that. But then we saw him be the best car at Dover. We saw him be, ninth and run into issues at Charlotte. But the Nashville, the Pocono, when I would argue that Cole Custer and Riley Herbst are probably the two best cars entering the week. And because of that, I'm gonna have very little interest in Creed. I don't really see a reason why you would play Creed in this spot. I just don't see it. When we look at where Creed is at, sure, the laps look good, but still, I would personally be more interested at when we look at who's starting up front. I would much rather want to play Riley Herbst than Sheldon Creed. So personally, I would not play Sheldon Creed. Um, the reason I'm saying that is because I think this race by default is gonna just be needed to chase the guys who qualified poorly, who should be finishing better. And we'll even start that with without even talking about the big boys, the big dogs, but like Jeb Burton starting 18th, $6,800. Like I think he could realistically get 11th to 13th. The reason why I'm highlighting the Alpha Beta Prime cars is when we look at where these guys are at and what they've been doing. Like even Parker Retzloff starting 26th, very much in play. Like pretty much, on a race that will come down to where these guys are at. And granted, Pocono is a bit disappointed. We'd like to see him higher up. But like I think Parker Retzloff, I think Jeb Burton can very easily pass people. When we look at like Parker Kligerman, pretty much guaranteed spots. I just don't see how these guys like don't get through the field. Same thing with like Daniel Dye. Like Daniel Dye, now he has not been the best car in these races, but when you look at where Daniel Dye is actually finishing these races, he has not finished worse than 27th at any of these events, and he is pretty much going to get a top 20 car or top 20 finish in my opinion, just based on what the colleague cars have. So like Daniel Dye, SVG, like the 7K range is very playable. The 6K range is very playable. And so by default, with 125 laps, with the people who are starting up front, which, you know, I'm personally okay with this. Like, I don't see anything out of the ordinary on this stuff, even with the package that they're running. Like, everything is in line of where they should be at. Like, I don't see anybody here that is, like, out of ordinary of where they should be at. And lastly, since we have pretty much guys in the 5K range who don't carry a lot of speed in races but are able to finish well ahead of where they run, okay? When you look at Ryan Ellis at the bottom of the salary, I mean, we're looking at Ryan Ellis in play at 56, Brennan Poole at 6,000. Actually very hard to get to, but like Brennan Poole starting 36, I'm not concerned about the slow speed by themselves. We typically see that in practice and in queue from Brennan Poole, guaranteed like 27, 26 finish, like by default. Leland showing up again with no sponsorship, but still 5,200. Like between Leland, Josh, Brennan Poole, and Ryan Ellis, I think you need one of those by default. I don't really see a reason to double punt, but I think you play one of these four guys in every line, and then due to that, we can get very, very easily get to Austin Hill, very easily get to Justin Allgaier, very easy to get to, Kligerman, Daniel Dye, like that. And that's how I'm going to approach it. And so when I start looking at who I want as a lap leader, if we're playing Cole Custer, we're sacrificing one of these expensive guys, which is fine. Like it's probably going to be a 10K guy lineup anyway, with a heavy majority of that leaning to Allgaier, Hill, and then probably Nemechek as a secondary, like prime or secondary focus in the 10K range. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I think Herbst and Chandler Smith are probably the best plays up in the 10K range, just because Riley Herbst is 9,800. Everything I mentioned earlier, I think he's a much better play of the top guys up front. He's going to get pushed by his teammate. I don't see how Riley Herbst doesn't lead like lap one. I would be shocked to see Riley Herbst or Cole Custer not leading by like lap 4. Like those two are the primary guys that have the highest chance of leading like right off the bat. When we look at the rest of the pricing range here, like when we then look at Chandler Smith and we look at where Chandler Smith is, like he is like by de facto like the 4th, 5th best car in these races. I mean, it is a nice bump to see that he has the best car, just in practice, regardless if it was in hack or not. So like Chandler Smith at $9,000, very easy to work with. Like a guy who's going to be top 5 all day, a guy who's going to compete to scrape off fast laps. You pair that with place differential plays back here, and it's just like a standard intermediate track. Like we just had guys mess up in queue, and some guys are starting up front, or some guys are starting where they shouldn't. Like it's not even like a misqualification, but like Lawless Allen's going to get passed, and probably finish like 20th, 21st. So that kills him for DFS. Anthony Alfredo, like why would you not prioritize Austin Hill here? Like I just don't understand why you wouldn't prioritize Austin Hill when we're talking about like pure speed. I say this about Pocono, I say it about Michigan. Like you can't fake speed here, okay? Now, when we're looking back at the adjustments they made and where they're at, like I'm perfectly fine with Austin Hill, with where he's at. Like this is where he's defaulting to. The Pocono run was very, very impressive. And so, like, I think Austin Hill's the best play on the slate. I think I would be pretty shocked to see this 21 car like not score. What do we got? What do we got him at? I would be absolutely shocked to see like Austin Hill like not score like over like 47 points today. Absolutely like floored. I'd be shocked. Um, like this is a top 10 car. This is the top 12 car. Top 15, top 20 by default. Top 7. I mean, not even top 10 for Austin Hill. This is the top 5 car. When we look at where Justin Allgaier is, this is a top 5 car. Why would you not prioritize, especially if Riley Herbst and Cole Custer are already here? Like we would ideally want to prioritize one of these guys as the lap leader, as the race winner. Chandler Smith, based on the price range, but like top 3 car starting 16th, top 5 car starting 20th. Like these are your 2 priorities, Justin Allgaier and Austin Hill. Like that is the cornerstone of this race. It is an intermediate track. Why would we not prioritize the guys who have had top 5 cars in these races? It would be very surprising for me to see these guys run into issues and not be able to get through the field. Like this is where they've been at intermediate tracks. And that's where we're at. I mean, it's a pretty straightforward intermediate race where I'm at. I just don't see anything more than that. So let's see where we're at. Yeah, Hill's the best play. I would not play Gregson. I see no reason to play him at all. He's pretty much right where he's at. He's $8,700 in both these events. He hasn't actually. I could be wrong. Let me finish that statement. Because he paid off. He scored 46 points in both races. So if he were to do that, he'd hit like just that value. I have Gregson at. I got him finishing 10th today, and that's right around 35 points, so not going to me. I think if you're needing money, I think Chandler Smith's a much better play. Like because we need the lap leader, man. Like you need one of these guys in every line. Like these are the favorites to lead today. I mean, if I had to like put money on who's going to win this race, like I would probably put it on Cole Custer, Chandler Smith, and Riley Herbst. Like I think SHR are the cars to beat today. And then probably Joe Gibbs, with Chandler Smith leading that brigade, and then by that point, Hill and Justin Allgaier are already up in the top 10 anyway. But just by this, like I'm playing Chandler Smith because he's $9,000, and I don't need a lot from him to even hit 45. If he's going to maintain that position all day, and just finish top 5, scrapes off some fast laps, which I think he will do. I'm personally going to play Chandler Smith as the primary lap leader today. That's what I'm personally doing. But man, I think Riley Herbst and Cole Custer are probably the favorites to win and lead today. But that's where I'm at. I don't know. I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward. Like when we look at like the people who are actually in play, like we really don't have a player pool at all. It's literally just one of these 4 fellas, and then you look at like the people who are actually able to like actually do something today. It's a very limited field here. These fellows. Now, personally, I mean, I'm just not going to get to Nemechek because I'm playing all the other guys. But like, these are like this is the field. This is the DFS field. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Like this is your 16 car pool that you build with today. And it's like, yeah, well, like if you look at everybody here, and I mean, this is me more so feeling Riley Herbst and Cole, or at least Herbst rather, but best car, I mean, pretty much best car text to ran into issues, consistently at least a top, you know, 7 car and stuff for Chandler Smith. We look at Ryan Sieg. If I can spell his name correctly. I mean, him at 75 is a pretty good price tag. It's just that he's probably going to be beat by Daniel Dye and SVG most times, most situations. But like Nemechek has been pretty much the best car in the races he's ran outside of when he got damaged at Dover or at Darlington. You know, we look at Justin Allgaier, as I said. If I can type anything correctly, Jesus. Top 5 car. We look at Jeb Burton, his potential of gaining positions in this race. Look at Austin Hill, top 5. Look at Kligerman, which Kligerman's been wildly all over the place in terms of speed because he qualifies so poorly. But Kligerman has been able to finish pretty decently in these races when he's not wrecked out. Like, I mean, he's coming off at 3 DNFs and stuff. But when he doesn't wreck out, I mean, he's going to finish like 12th. Shane's going to gain positions. I mean, Daniel Dye is finishing way better than where he's running in these races. Alpha Beta Prime really able to have some decent cars here. I mean, Parker's going to finish probably at least 8th position. And this is all, if it goes green, if these idiots wreck, that's how it goes. But like I think these are the only guys you work with. I just don't see a situation where, Jesus, man, at least 5 of the optimal lineups are from the guys highlighted in green here. Like, that would be like shocking. Like, if like Sammy Smith came out of nowhere, I don't even know what that even looks like. I don't know what it looks like if Jesse Love is forcing his way in. I don't know what it looks like if Anthony Alfredo's getting up there, which, I mean, Alfredo hasn't been bad. I mean, he has been there, but the fact that there wasn't really any burst of speed, I mean, even when he was, I mean, these are, I'm just not too crazy about the Alfredo play today, which, anyway, that's where I'm at. Let's see what you guys are saying really fast. 6 is 63. Best play 63 feels gross. Who's gross down there? Let me take a look. Under 63. You got Brennan Poole. Why would you not play Poole? If you have the money, play Brennan Poole. Why is this even a question? But like Ryan, these guys down here, like let's analyze that. Best play under 63 feels gross with those guys. Okay, so let's look at the 6K range specifically. Only looking here, right? We'll take these guys off and we'll see where they're running these races and then compare them to what they've done fantasy-wise. So we look at Jeremy Clements, okay, which we're not playing him, but this is where Clements lies. Move this down. We look at Jeffrey Earnhardt, who has ran into motor issues when he's ran in this Sam Hunt car, when he blew the motor. What event was that? Has he only ran plate races? I'm pretty sure he's only ran plate races with Sam Hunt, but he blew a motor there. We look at what Jeffrey Earnhardt's doing here. Like, Earnhardt sucks. Okay, Jeffrey just sucks. We look at Poole, who in these races has been a mid-20th place car running position-wise, okay? We look at where, and you can go back and look at the practice time. Anytime Poole does not practice well because he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to lay down fast laps and stuff. Now, that could be emphasized more on it, and I think it is emphasized more on a track like this, to where a lot of the speed comes from the setup and the team, not necessarily the driver, because it's 2-mile racetrack, very aero dependent, and so Alpha Beta Prime cars will be. Actually, no, I've been saying Alpha Beta Prime for Jordan Anderson. I apologize. The Alpha Beta Prime cars like Caesar, Poole, Ellis, they always struggle on aero-dependent tracks because that team is very bad at making like raw aero and stuff. Like Ellis and Poole get there through these races. Like Poole, like we have been playing Poole nearly every week that we can't afford to do that because he has a very high chance, and we've seen his pricing increased due to this because there's a real chance he's going to score over 30 points in the majority of the races. And it's difficult to just project that straight up like I am for 27th. He's my highest projected guy in the back of the field. But like Poole is a great play, not on speed, but on just getting through the field, getting through the race. Like same thing at Pocono. Like he's not going to qualify well at Pocono. He's not going to run well at Pocono straight up, but ended up being the 28th best car. Where did he even finish at Pocono? That was he finished 26th, started 27th. Like, what else do we want from Poole? So if you can afford Poole, he is the best play in the 6K range. Like none of these guys should look hideous at all, especially when it's the best like cheap guys are in the back of the field. Like when we're looking at like safe plays and stuff, like typically we got to deal with like Perkins starting last, Patrick starting last, but like Balicki's normally in like Balicki, Poole, Ellis, and Leland all underqualified from where they normally do or where they normally should be qualifying at. Like that's why these four guys are all like in play. They're all great plays. I don't see multiple of them working out because I think they're kind of capped at like 33, 32 points. You don't necessarily want to have two guys scored in the 30s when you have a real chance of near 50. Leader's going to have over 50. Daniel Dye and like SVG and Parker, like these guys can be 40s, 40s, 40s. So you really don't want to double punt with two guys that are probably going to score like in the 30s. But that's why I had them highlight. Like they are fantastic plays. Like this is not a race to where anybody under 30, anybody under 63 should feel ugly. Like it is not the case. Like there are very clear good plays in that range. Let's see. Do you guys have any other questions or anything? I think we about covered it all. It's just an intermediate track. I use intermediate data for it. I don't know how else you would approach it. I think that's where we're at. We can get into Bloomquist talk very fast. I kill time waiting for other comments or other questions. I was talking to my mom the other day, and I was telling her I really am at the point of like, I think we were watching like a ESPN something, or I was watching ESPN, maybe a 30 for 30. I don't remember. Maybe it was an Omaha production thing. Anyway, it was Peyton Manning talking about football, and it was very much like he played it because he enjoyed it. He kept playing it because he loved it, and he got to the point where like he did it so much like you lose the fun of it. It becomes a job and stuff like that, and that's how I've like viewed racing more and more. Same thing with like the Richmond stuff. Like nobody needs my opinion on that because everybody knows it. Like NASCAR completely like screwed over Dylan. He did nothing wrong. He followed the rules. I guess if you're just gonna tent wreck people, just left rear them or fence them. Just don't hit them in the right rear. What a wild thing to say, or what a wild thing to look at. But like Brock Beard put out a great video that I completely agree with. Like I don't have anything to add to the conversation other than like if I was not doing this stuff, I probably wouldn't be watching racing. Or if I would be I would legit be the worst fan ever. Like I would just root for crashes. Like that's all I watch racing for now. Same thing with like dirt racing. Like I don't like sprint cars. To be honest, I think sprint cars are kind of lame. Hot take, whatever. I like late models and modifieds more. I just don't. I can't get sprint car racing. Like been around them my entire life, just never that type of stuff. Even racing, like racing's fun if you're the one doing it. I don't want to watch sprint cars have no passing the entire time. Like that's just lame. I want to watch racing. Late models and modifieds put on better racing. And then going back to like, like who do you even root for now? Okay, because everybody racing now are either the kids of rich people, which isn't a bad thing. Okay, racing is just spoon-fed babies now. Like that's fine. We all acknowledge that, right? But it's hard to root for people like that in like local racing. Okay, and or they're like guys in their like mid 40s who have like made it themselves and they're racing. Like I can't remember his name, like Strickler and stuff. In the late model world, or like Bubba Pollard or like Butterbean. Like I can't relate to these idiots. And the old guard of like real racers, the last like generation of like real racers, because there's a lot of those still in dirt track racing up until this year. We're talking people who don't use Hans devices. We're talking people who use a donut. We're talking people who like still hand build everything. Like a lot of those guys are like at the end of their careers, like straight up. Like Carl Rennicenter no longer races. So like Bloomquist really was like the last real like racer involved in the upper echelon of dirt track racing in any form or fashion. Okay. And the guy lied to us, man. He flips at Eldora because I was watching that. They talked to him. He's all busted up and broken. He's got a cast on his wrist, and he's like, because we knew he was towards the end of his career, and he said he was going to be back. You lied to us, Bloomer. You lied to us. You're not coming back. That was it. That's really how it ended. You destroyed a chassis, or like you basically got intent wrecked. You got right reared. Oh, watch out, NASCAR. But man, like it just sucks because like who do you root for now? Who do I root for? Fuck, I can't watch like any late model racing, like give a shit about anybody. Can't, I'm very, very sad that Lindquist passed away. That is brutal. Same thing with like, you know, all the big tier, like I don't watch rally, you know, but a lot of like the true like rally cross guys, of the mid like 2000s and stuff, you know. Um, I mean, Travis Pastrana's off doing his own thing. Ken Block died. Like, fuck, dude. Um, Tanner Faust isn't racing nearly as much. Dave Merrick killed himself. So like that group of like that core group of drivers that you'd watch to race for. Colin McRae died. Like all those guys are gone. You know, so like how do you realistically watch racing now? You know, like we can't watch Formula One because it just is stupid. All the people who are like, I can't believe Austin Dillon wrecked, intent wrecked, are the same people who were like bitching and moaning that Lando didn't race Oscar for the win like 3 weeks ago. Are you kidding me? What are you guys doing? And then as I said, like all the people who have like Dale Earnhardt finishes losing their mind, calling Austin Dillon a dirty driver, like I am completely aware. I am self-aware that Dale Earnhardt was hated by the fans. People like carried around like signs saying that they would kill Earnhardt. Like, are you guys insane? Do you forget history? You have to forget history. Like, are you stupid? Like, Earnhardt was vilified. Are you kidding me? And then he died. And then people were like, big respect to the three. Like, that is somebody I would have rooted for. Like Earnhardt raced like a shithead. Okay, people keep bringing up Terry Labonte and stuff. People don't remember the rivalry between Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace. And the only thing that ended that was Earnhardt nearly killed Rusty at Talladega. Okay, when Ernie Irvin wins and Rusty spins and gets airborne, that was Earnhardt who said he was trying to spin out Rusty Wallace. He just didn't expect him to roll over and flip, 40 times. Like that was how Earnhardt raced. That is the type of driver I like. Like I'm a actual Earnhardt fan through and through. I liked Stewart because he just ran over people, literally and figuratively, but like he would move people out of the way. Like mid 2000 Stewart was amazing. Are you kidding me? Intent wrecking like Kenseth into the pack, like that. I like people like that. I like Darrell Waltrip because Darrell Waltrip just yaps. He just jaws, just talk shit to people left and right. Like people forget that. People are like, oh, DW is so cute and cuddly, and he had a rough time exiting his career. End of the career was pretty. Waltrip was hated too because he just wouldn't shut the fuck up. Okay, all the people, all the boring people like Davey Allison, Bill Elliott, Martin, those are the main popular dudes. Okay, like how do we forget that like Earnhardt was like a hated guy? Like how I don't understand that at all. So like that's why I was so happy to see Dylan do that because that's like what NASCAR's leading to. Okay, like why would anybody like be disappointed? All the boomers, because I was listening to like Sirius XM on Monday, heading back, and I never listened to that show. Never listened to any of those idiots. I couldn't believe it. All the callers had the right idea. All the boomers call it in Monday, Tuesday. Were like, love to see it. They were very happy. Can't believe it. Big W for the boomers on that one because they were on the right side of history. Let's see. Who's the lap leaders besides SHR, Jason? I mean, past that, I don't really know, man. I mean, I think it's Chandler, probably Nemechek, Allgaier would probably be the other lap leaders from that. Because, like, realistically, Creed leads probably capped him at like 8 to 9 laps. Hell, Creed can lead fucking 15 laps and finish 7th. It's nullified. Okay. Taylor Gray, maybe. Not playing Smith. I mean, if we're looking at lap leaders, like realistically, of anybody who would lead laps, I mean, it's probably these fellows as your primary guys who could lead laps. If we're focusing on more, it's probably these three specifically. But that's where we're at there. Or that's where I'd be at, Jason. Thank you, Charles. And yeah, it man, dude, I can't believe Bloomer passed away. It sucks. People are gonna, shit on him and stuff for not being a licensed pilot. I'm sure that'll come through. I'm sure people will shit talk in some form or fashion. But I'd rather die doing something that I love versus, dying in a hospice care or something. What else? But like, yeah, like how do you even root? How do you watch racing in this day and age? This is what I've been saying. Like everybody was like, "Oh, you do that shit at local short track, you go to the rear." And I see that at local short tracks all the time or like online because you get people who are either rich, who have just abundance amount of money, who can literally, and I've seen this firsthand. I know this is verbatim, quote by quote. I have heard this quote from my own community in the racing scene. Back when I'll just say it. Back when Bumper Jones from the Jones family, and the Barnett family. I mean, this is like in the Las Cruces, Vado, El Paso area and stuff. The same place where like the Scott brothers uh, came out of, the same people that raced with like Terry Phillips and stuff. These are like two rich families, and this is like 2006 or something, and they kept wrecking shit. And it came down to the Jones family being like, "Hey, if you want to like keep tearing shit up, we can keep tearing shit up, but I have way more money than you." And that's basically how the conversation stopped. It was two rich families just tearing shit up each week. Um, that like that's what we see in local short track racing. Have you guys watched a Cars tour? Back the field still tearing shit up. Local late models, they just tear shit up. Like there's so much dirty racing now. That's like the norm. That's because people have grown up with like they don't get their ass whooped anymore. Uh Daddy's money pays for everything. Like this is the new generation of racing, which is why I'm like, yeah, I watch it for the chaos. But like, it would be so hard to like watch racing now, to like act to for real racing. Like that's insane. It crazy, crazy talk. So like, it all goes back to Bloomquist. I didn't give a shit if he ran 11th, first. Didn't make it out of B main. Awesome, awesome, awesome driver. Always put on a show. What a great guy, and he had long hair. You got to support anybody who has long hair. But I'd much rather watch Bloomquist run 17th than Larson like beat the shit out of the field. Like people who like Larson, it's the same thing. Like at least Kinzer drove sprint cars. I mean, I just went on like I don't personally like sprint cars, but that's much more fun to watch. That if I'm gonna see somebody consistently dominate or something, I would much rather see it in sprint cars. Like So like why didn't people like hate on Steve Kinzer and stuff? Oh yeah, that's right because Kinzer was driving shit back when you could like die at any given moment. I don't know, like racing is just not the same. That's where I'm at. Why do you prefer her? Okay, well, I mean, now I'm goofing around. I mean, I've been live for like 30 minutes. We talked about the slate specifically for like the first 20. I can and I explained all that there. Jake, do you want to take a guess on that before I answer it? Um, I'd like to see how old you think I am, and then I will answer it. But yeah, I mean, I think this slate is it's pretty straightforward. I appreciate 39 of you guys still here, just goofing around, chilling. See if Jake is still here for him to answer that. I guess speaking on the slate really fast again, like I don't think we're gonna see a lot of crashes. If we do have a crash, it's gonna be out of turn 2. But that's like the only problematic spot. I think we're just gonna see the field spread out. Um, Probably run single file. I don't think we're gonna see much in this Michigan race at all. I really, really don't. Okay, wow, I'm insulted. I know I look old. Oh, but dude, geez Louise, what is that? 2000, 2010, 2012, 34. You think I'm 34? Oh my lord. Oh man, I'm insulted, my guy. I was born before 9/11, but I wasn't born that far removed from 9/11. I was born in 98. Okay, I'm a 98 baby. I'm a 90s kid, yo. I'm 26. I just turned 26. Like, oh man. Um, but I think we about touched on everything. Big sad to Bloomquist, big sad to Ken Block, big sad to all the greats that we're losing. Also, and we're gonna lose so many guys within the next 5 years. Like people got mad at me when I mentioned it, but like Rick Hendrick, Roger Penske, Joe Gibbs, Leonard Wood, Sterling Marlin, Richard Petty, Darrell Waltrip, just to name a few guys that aren't gonna be here in like the fucking 5 years, dude. 5, 6 years. No way Leonard Wood sees like the year 2026, right? Like it's gonna be just a drastic downhill when all these guys pass away. Um anyway, we're done. Man, you guys think I'm so old. At least I'm mature, but oh geez Louise. Anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern time, probably 10:15. I'd like to sleep in a little bit. I got back at like 1 a.m. last night. Got to get up early for this. So maybe like 10:15 Eastern time. I don't want to. No, fuck it. We'll do 10 a.m. Eastern time. That's 9 my time. I want to be the first show. So we'll 10 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. We'll talk Cup Series, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Best of luck in this slate, and yeah, bye bye.